and welcome dear students. Today we will take up session 2 of the lesson Bhakti-Sufi traditions from the themes in Indian history part 2 of class 12th. Dear students, before starting session 2, we will recapitulate the important points of session 1. We have discussed about the sources and textual traditions used by the historians to understand Bhakti-Sufi traditions. The striking features during the period between 8th to 18th century, a large number of gods and goddesses in sculpture as well as in text appeared. The integration of cults. Two types of processes were at work. First, disseminating Brahminical ideas, and second, accepting and reworking the beliefs and practices of other social categories. Tantric worship, worship of goddess. Conflicts that arose during the Bhakti movement. Differences and conflicts among these traditions. Early traditions of Bhakti. Historians of religion classified Bhakti traditions into two broad categories. Saguna Bhakti, worship of specific deities such as Shiva, Vishnu and his avatars. Nirguna Bhakti, worship of an abstract form of God. The Alvars and Nayanars of Tamil Nadu. Alvars, the devotees of Lord Vishnu. Nayanars, the devotees of Lord Shiva. Attitude of Alvars and Nayanars about caste. Dear students, the learning objectives of today's session are to be able to know more about Alvars and Nayanars, to be able to know about the composition of Alvars and Nayanars, to know about the women devotees of Alvars and Nayanars, to know about the patronage of Chola rulers to Alvars and Nayanars, to know about the Veer-Shaiva tradition of Karnataka, to know about the religious ferment in North India. Dear students, we ended our first session with the topic attitude of Alvars and Nayanars towards caste. Today in this session, we will start with the next topic, composition of Alvars and Nayanars. The compositions of the Alvars and the Nayanars are considered to be as important as the Vedas. For instance, one of the anthologies of compositions of the Alvars, the Nalaira Divya Prabandham, was described as the Tamil Veda, and the text was significant like the Vedas that were used by the Brahmanas. The poems of Nayanars, Appar, Sabandar and Sundarar form the Tevaram, a collection that was compiled and classified in the 10th century. Dear learners, there were not only men devotees in these traditions, but there were women devotees also who contributed a lot for the development of Alvars and Nayanars traditions. Women devotees. One of the striking features of these traditions was the presence of women. For example, there was a saint poet named Andal, a woman Alvar. Her compositions were sung and are sung even today. Another woman, Karaikal Ammayar, a devotee of Shiva, adopted the path of extreme asceticism to attain her goal. Her compositions were preserved within the Nayanar literature. These women renounced their social obligations but did not become nuns. Their presence was a challenge to patriarchal norms. Dear students, Alvars and Nayanars not only promote their thinking and ideology among their followers, but simultaneously oppose Buddhism and Jainism. The reason for opposing Buddhism and Jainism are given as below. The saint poets, the Alvars and the Nayanars were opposed to Buddhism and Jainism. This hostility is well marked in their compositions, particularly of the Nayanars. Historians say that this conflict was due to competition between members of different religious traditions for royal patronage. Dear students, for the propagation and expansion of Bhakti traditions, Alvars and Nayanars needed the patronage and support of the state. Now, we are going to learn about their Alvars and Nayanars relation with the state. Patronage of Chola rulers. The Chola rulers supported the Bhakti traditions and built temples for Shiva and Vishnu. Some of the magnificent temples for Shiva, such as temples in Chidambaram, Tanjavur, and Gangaikonda Cholapuram, were constructed under their patronage. The Chola rulers built temples often to claim divine support and proclaim their own power and status, and adorned these temples with stone and metal sculpture to represent the visions of the popular saints. They made a spectacular representations of Shiva in bronze sculpture. The Chola king introduced the singing of Tamil Shaiva hymns under royal patronage, taking the initiative to collect and organize them into a text Tevaram. According to inscriptional evidence, the Chola king Parantak I had constructed the metal images of Appar, Sabandar and Sundarar in a Shiva temple. These were carried in procession during the festivals of these saints. Dear students, now we will know about the another tradition of Bhakti in South India in present day state of Karnataka, the Veer Shaiva tradition. During the 12th century, the Veer Shaiva movement was started by a Brahmana named Vasavanna, 1106 to 68. He was a Jaina and a minister in the court of a Chalukya king. His followers were known as Veer Shaivas, heroes of Shiva, and Lingayats, wearers of the Linga. Dear students, as we came to learn that the followers of the Veer Shaiva movement were devotees of Lord Shiva, and they were also known as the Lingayats, wearers of Linga. So, now we will learn about the Lingayats and their beliefs. Lingayats are an important community even today. They worship Shiva in the form of Linga. They wear a small linga in a silver case over the left shoulder. Jangama or wandering monks are revered. Lingayats believe that after death the devotee will be united with Shiva and will not return to this world. Therefore, they do not practice funerary rites such as cremation as prescribed in the Dharma Shastra. Instead, they ceremonially bury the dead body. Dear students, let us now try to analyze whatever we have read. Composition of Alvars and Nayanars, Nalaira Divya Prabandham was described as the Tamil Veda. Women devotees, saint poet called Andal, a woman Alvar. Another woman, Karaikal Ammayar, a devotee of Shiva. Opposition to Buddhism and Jainism. Historians say that this conflict was due to competition between members of different religious traditions for royal patronage. Relation with the state. The Chola rulers supported the Bhakti traditions and built temples for Shiva and Vishnu. The Veer Shaiva tradition in Karnataka. The followers of Vasavanna, known as Veer Shaivas, heroes of Shiva, and Lingayats, wearers of the Linga. Lingayats and their beliefs. Lingayats believe that after death the devotee will be united with Shiva and will not return to this world. Dear students, as we have learned earlier about Alvars and Nayanars that they did not believe in caste and people from all kinds of social and religious background, and even women can also become the devotee or followers of these traditions like them. Veer Shaivas or Lingayats also challenge the caste system. The Lingayats challenge the idea of caste and the pollution attributed to some groups by Brahmanas. They also questioned the theory of rebirth. Their opposition to the caste system won them a number of followers who were marginalized within the Brahminical social order. The Lingayats also encouraged certain practices that were rejected by Dharma Shastras, such as post-puberty marriage and the remarriage of widows. Our knowledge about Veer-Shaiva tradition has come from vachanas, literally sayings, composed in Kannada by those who joined the movement. Dear students, till now we learned about the religious traditions of South India, that is Alvars, Nainars and Lingayats. Now we will learn about the religious ferment in North India, religious conditions of North India. According to historians, in North India there was a period when several Rajput states emerged, and in most of these states Brahmanas occupied important places by performing rituals. There was no attempt to question their position directly. At the same time, there were other religious leaders who were out of the orthodox Brahminical system and were gaining ground. These included the Naths, Jogis and Siddhas. Many of them came from artisanal groups such as weavers who were well organized. These religious leaders questioned the authority of the Vedas. However, they were unable to win the support of the ruling elites. Turkish conquest culminated in the establishment of the Delhi Sultanate. The powers of many Rajput rulers were thus undermined, and also of the Brahmanas who were associated with those kingdoms. The coming of the Sufis was a significant part of these developments. Dear students, so far we have learned about the changes in religious traditions in South India and emergence of new religious thinkers, followers and beliefs. Alvars, Nainars, Veer-Shaivas or Lingayats, their attitude towards caste and Vedas, women devotees, religious conditions of North India. Dear learners, here is some creative home assignment for you. What was the attitude of Alvars and Nainars towards caste? Name the composition of Alvars, which is considered as Tamil Veda. Name the women devotees of Alvars and Nainars. What may be the reasons for opposing Buddhism and Jainism by Alvars and Nainars? Who were Lingayats? Who was the founder of the Veer-Shaiva movement in Karnataka? What was the attitude of Lingayats about the caste system? That's all for today's session. I hope you enjoyed it a lot. Remaining part of the chapter will be discussed in upcoming sessions. Thank you so much.